According to MIT, students using ChatGPT for writing experienced a nearly 50% decline in neural connectivity, with 83% unable to recall a single sentence from their own AI-assisted essay. And it's nearly half of all students now use chatbots for schoolwork. 65% of high schoolers say AI is destroying their critical thinking, raising the question, has ChatGPT removed an entire generation's ability to think for themselves?
That's one of the main issues with AI. AI has gotten so advanced that people tend to overestimate its capabilities. And when people see something that's capable, you should not be surprised when people start experimenting with that capability, making the AI take on tasks that are just straight up unnecessary.
While the launch of ChatGPT has undoubtedly changed nearly every facet of our lives, with 10% of the entire global population now using it, the fact of the matter is that it arrived at a time when the nation's education system was already in severe decline, with 40% of Gen Alpha lacking basic reading skills, and 61% not even knowing the difference between an even and odd number. And while you would hope that parents or other adults could help reinforce learning outside the classroom, the reality is that 54% of American adults read below a 6th grade level.
If I had to guess why 54% of Americans read below a 6th grade level, according to this, I would say because of necessity. As a child, as a kid, you're expected to go to school, you're expected to learn how to read, write, study, whatever, to pass that test in order to graduate. And if you don't go through those procedures, if you don't follow through, there's disciplinary action taken on you. As an adult, we don't have that. There's no disciplinary action. The only disciplinary action is if you break the law.
Which means that both these existing educational deficiencies and the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence increasingly fall on the shoulders of teachers who are already overworked and underpaid, resulting in many beginning to rely on the exact same AI chatbots just in an attempt to keep up. In a 2025 Gallup survey of more than 2,200 public school teachers, roughly 60% reported using artificial intelligence during the school year, primarily to reduce time spent on grading, feedback, lesson planning, and administrative work.
I got a question though. Can you blame them? If the majority of teachers are being underpaid, then it's safe to assume that a lot of the work that pertains to grading papers, finding a curriculum worthwhile to enhance the student's experience, educational experience, is not being well compensated, is not being accounted for. So you shouldn't blame the teachers resorting to AI to shortcut the process. I'd actually put the blame on the person employing them, not compensating them well enough to do those actual tasks. Because had they been compensated well, I could guarantee you they wouldn't be using AI.
However, K-12 pilot programs found that AI grading systems frequently applied inconsistent scoring standards, deducted points for criteria not included in the rubric, and often penalized students who actually completed the assignments themselves, highlighting the unfortunate reality where education is increasingly becoming a system where AI generates the assignment, students use ChatGPT to complete the assignment, and teachers use AI to grade the assignment.
That's what I really hate about AI, is that it deprives you from gaining the experience and the lessons learned from whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. If you have a test and you know the answers to all that test due to AI, you're gonna ace the test. The problem is the whole point of that test is to challenge what you know. And the most saddest part is that they're young children. They don't know, man. They don't know any better. The schools need to start enforcing something on the mobile phones from the moment they walk into the school. They have no access to AI. They cannot even access it through the internet. That's the only way. Otherwise, it's only gonna get worse and worse from here.
With a Yale student telling CNN that conversations among peers are becoming increasingly flat and predictable, a symptom of students relying on artificial intelligence to think through discussions for them rather than developing their own ideas.
Of course, people are gonna think and talk alike because most of these AI models are trained on similar public data, and they're also trained to speak a specific way. So if you emulate them, you end up much like them.
A paper published in Trends in Cognitive Sciences reached a similar conclusion, arguing that when students rely on AI chatbots to think for them, they increasingly replace their own thoughts with a homogenized output generated from a model's training data, essentially proving what happens to a generation that emerges with more access to information than any group of people in human history, but through a system that actively discourages thinking and speaking for themselves.
That's fact. I wouldn't really go as far as saying that the system itself is discouraging people from thinking and talking like themselves. I would just say it just comes down to human nature. People, since the beginning of time, have always resorted to something that is convenient and easy. Like before, we used to hunt for food. Now, you don't need to hunt for food. You could just literally go on Uber or DoorDash and order your food. It'll be right at your doorstep. But there's consequences to that, because there's lack of activity. And maybe that's probably the reason why obesity is the way that it is. And with AI, just apply that to critical thinking. Apply that to people being like, yo, why do I need to do all this research? Or why do I need to think about this and that? The AI can just automate the procedure for me. And there's consequences to that as well. We're just at the beginning stages of it, that's all. But it's still bad, really bad.
And while artificial intelligence could absolutely become one of the most powerful educational tools ever created, just like the supporters argued during the 1980s, providing thousands and thousands of students affordable, personalized AI tutoring, programs like what the Alpha School is doing here in Austin, reporting that students are learning 2 to 3 times faster than national averages through its AI-powered 2-hour learning model, or things as simple as what a community member shared and how their child uses AI to generate quizzes and flashcards to reinforce what they're already learning.
Okay. Hey, bravo, that's good. But you guys also have to know something. That's a minority that's using AI the right way. AI the way it's supposed to be used. But you cannot forget about the majority. The majority are not using it the way the minority are using it. And that's why the problems are there.
But at the end of the day, the unfortunate reality is that when addressing this issue at scale, the system we currently have does not support the desire to learn and will decay even faster with the rapid adoption of AI, resulting in a world not only defined by severe wealth inequality, but by knowledge inequality as well. Some of the comments stated, I am an EMT and half my class last year used ChatGPT to answer their tests for them. So you could be dying and your EMT has no idea what to do without first asking ChatGPT.
Dang, that's bad. If I'm on a stretcher and I'm on my last breath and EMT doesn't know what to do with me unless they resort to ChatGPT for the answers, I'm sorry, man. We have failed as people. I just gotta be the first one to say it. They literally went to school for this and they have no idea what's going on. Oh, I know why. Because they were using ChatGPT in school. Wow. I'm really starting to know what the consequences are. Damn, man. Laying in a stretcher and your EMT doesn't know what to do with you unless they ask ChatGPT? Oh, man.
Because you have to think about who benefits from a misaligned incentive or from the misaligned system that we're participating in.
CEOs.
Do you think the powers that be want a tight-knit community that has the desire to learn and the knowledge and skill set to make a better tomorrow, or a bunch of individuals that lack the ability to think for themselves, have no ability to communicate or organize, and have a homogenized hive mindset based off of AI prompts? It's very obvious the answer. This system isn't just going to get better. So we need to start having the desire to learn and the desire to communicate and the ability to think for ourselves. If we do that, we can create a better tomorrow.
I think that there just needs to be regulations and some sort of restrictions applied to AI that is used in certain industries. And those restrictions have to be applied soon because AI is going to continue to become more advanced, especially if the producer themselves is reluctant to slow down the advancement of AI. But I don't know what y'all got to say, so I'm gonna leave it to y'all. Just let me know in the comments your opinion about all this. But until then, I love y'all, man. Peace and love. I'll see y'all next time.